abuse this matchup, but a couple of mid lane bans have already been thrown out by FlyQuest, targeting some of the champions they are most worried about in that 1v1. So it will be Cassio, and in my experience, this is actually more of a Victor favored matchup. They both can scale, but Victor outranges and has superior wave clear, especially once you have the E laser upgraded. You can poke Cassio from out of her range with your E and look to kind of get control of the minion wave there.
All right, well, we'll see if it's going to work out, as the Cassiopeia is going to hope to scale and do well. It's one of the more common champions for Eka, his third pick of the champ. Second victor here for Power of Evil. I like the composition. I always like set Xayah Rakan. I think it's just very, very strong overall. A lot of good things to do there. PoE is going to, generally be a solid mid laner, right? He is he is basically the only not Cloud9 MVP candidate. I mean, maybe Broken Blade now is kind of in the conversation here as well, but it was so obviously above the rest, right? He was almost dragging FlyQuest into the top 3. And like, I want to know what FlyQuest looks like, because I would love there to be a real fight for second place at the end. We know C9 can't be caught, but I want to see that FlyQuest TSM battle that seems so likely here. And if Solo just turns that knob a little bit more and FlyQuest get a little bit better as a team, that's going to be exciting. I want to see Solo do well.
That's a good point. Yeah, if Solo is able to really perform, then FlyQuest looking even better. They have been a pretty surprisingly strong team throughout this split. I do like their composition a lot more as far as this draft is concerned. I think Immortals really are going to struggle if they fall behind at all, because they have very poor ways to start fights. You're engaged as essentially a Trundle, Pillar, or Morgana binding, which is not reliable. Whereas on the other side, FlyQuest can start its fight with Gragas. They can start it with Rakan. There's more options to make things happen on their own terms.
Yeah, gonna be fun to watch for. Pretty sure, as is usual, we take our 5-minute commercial break before the game starts for competitive integrity. So we'll see you very soon right after this.
Get some snacks.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. It is our 5th and final LCS game of the day. I am still Freak, that was still Azael, but now it is League of Legends, which is all you came here for anyway. FlyQuest, slated to be a top 3 team at the end of the split. I am looking forward to a potential tiebreaker with TSM for second. That's going to be exciting. Immortals right now in playoff position, and they can hold on to that one. With the win here, they are tied for 3rd.
That would be huge for Immortals. We talked about preseason expectations based on their roster, on people thinking, hey, they weren't really going to be able to match up. They didn't have a big carry threat, but they have been looking good. Like Smithy, I think this guy is so impressive how he's able to just succeed on all these different teams. And on Immortals, when you're looking at the roster player by player, it's shocking to think that Immortals is actually ahead of Team Liquid, his old squad, who replaced him in the playoff race. FlyQuest, on the other hand, they too, have been doing very, very well. I think started out incredibly hot, cooled off a little bit, but now with Solo coming in, I'm excited to see, are they going to be able to step it up even more?
Azael, I think I figured it out, though. It's not that Smithy got replaced on TL. He replaced his team with upgrades, right? Like, yeah, okay, the LCS got harder and Smithy's no longer in first place, but, he found some new teammates and he's a game and a half ahead of TL right now.
True. He just replaced all 4 of them. They didn't replace him. I like it.
That's the storyline I'm going to hook up with here right now. Smithy.
He also replaced his org.
He also replaced his org. Yeah, he's like, no, I don't need Steve. We got better stuff going on here. Smithy is the second most all-time LCS trophies, right? He's passed Bjergsen, second only to Doublelift, and he can tie first place if he can bring his new old team. We have so many of these now. His new old team to another LCS championship.
That would be pretty incredible if he's able to do it. But I think for now, even just making playoffs would be huge for this squad. I think that would be a very impressive run for Immortals. I know that is what they're focused on. That is what FlyQuest is focused on, picking up every single win that they can to put themselves in a good position to try to make top 4 and have essentially that double elimination style playoff advantage.
Yeah, and they are poised to make it. That is the expectation for FlyQuest. Immortals would be on the outside looking in unless they start to surge at the end. They've got a reasonably hard schedule. They are statistically expected to go 1-3 based on strength, but it's wins that they can get, they can improve, and we'll see if they can do that one and maybe take 4th place away from Evil Geniuses. That's like the really important battle is near the end of the season. They face EG, and that is who's slotted right now to take 4th. So that'll be something we watch for. Of course, right now we have an individual game to be played. Smithy going to be spotted on the ward. Solo pushes in the wave. Might have to drop away these caster minions, unfortunately, but as he sees Smithy go down to the blue buff and that whole area, he's feeling comfortable enough to at least gain XP.
Smithy didn't want to spend too much time waiting around, and had he actually gone straight into the brush, then Solo would have had to give up even more, but now he is spotted. Solo fairly far up, but will be able to walk it out.
Okay, gets away from some of the first knockers, but now has to burn the flash away. It feels like he stopped for a second and did a taunt or something. Like he kind of sat there and then lost flash after just skill shots.
I think he didn't realize that Soaz was going to run past the wave, and now they're trying to collapse on Smithy here.
Really good pullback when it trades the flash back. Max range face breaker means Smithy has to flash to get away from body slam with the follow-up slow. But it is still a flashless top laner, and that to me still probably favors Immortals if they can revisit top lane.
I would agree. As a jungler, generally, if you come and trade flashes with a soul laner, you're considering that a fairly successful gank. So Smithy's still going to be pretty happy overall, but it did seem like that was a little bit of kind of cockiness from Solo. Slowed down, stopped moving his character. I think he thought he was far enough away that Soaz would not engage on him, and he wanted to stay maybe an XP range or just say, hey, Smithy, you can't 1v1 me, but it ended up costing him the flash.
Okay, well, junglers now both topside. Centauran is a level behind Smithy and only gets barrel damage. He is...
Smithy got more, I think, of the experience from that lane and perhaps a little bit more additional experience from some of these camps, so is a level ahead for now. And we are seeing Power of Evil just kind of trading back and forth here with Aka, but up on that top side, due to that pseudo freeze, Soaz is very far ahead in terms of those farms. So we'll have to see how much Solo is able to actually pick up.
Yeah.
To be able to try to close the gap there.
And look at that, 17-30 in CS on the top side. Yes, Solo's going to pick up some off the wave. It's not going to be that different metric forever, but just that one gank seems to have really reset how that wave was playing out, how that lane was playing out. Santorin can try to catch up in XP. This Scuttle should give him enough, I believe, and trying to get level 4. But this is a bit of a rough start for FlyQuest. Gotta say, though, they are still up in farm overall. Small lead in bot lane, small lead in the mid lane. Not the end of the world by any means. And top is caught up.
They're actually slightly ahead of goal, 7.6 to 7.5 right now. So not really a big deal whatsoever. We'll see what Power of Evil is able to get off of his first recall. Some people do like to just rush mana. Others like to rush the upgrade. It is going to be the upgrade here from Power of Evil. So getting that upgraded to E-Laser for the second proc on it does really increase your wave clear and can allow you to kind of harass down this Cassio from outside of Cassio's range.
Yeah, gonna be fun to watch for. I mean, I'm very intrigued by mid lane matchups. It's arguably my worst role, so I never understand all the pieces of it. But it's always really compelling, especially when there is some level of kill threat or poke threat, and you can kind of see who gets the lane control and who can kind of do what around the map. Power of Evil, again, an absolute all-star in the mid lane so far. Aka has been not having the best year, but he's still part of this Immortals combo that is right now in 5th place in the LCS in a playoff position. And in striking distance of a bit higher if they can make it happen. A quick bot lane push comes in. Apollo, 50% record, just like his predecessor was down in the bottom lane. But back reunited with Hakuo. Second longest standing duo of total games played together.
It's nice to see them reunited. I think that they've just been such a mainstay in the league, and it was kind of funny that Apollo was on the same org, but he was playing in Academy, where Hakuo was still staying in the LCS there. So now have been reunited, and they've been solid performers for many years. I do think Apollo at times is pretty underrated. He's not the most flashy player, but he's very consistent.
Yeah, absolutely the case. I think he's definitely very strong. He has some very good years. I still get memed once in a while about calling him A tier, but yeah, definitely a good player. But now suddenly 3-on-1 versus PU. He has to flash get away, finds the sun into Soaz, and builds a lot of distance. But can there be follow through? So as we can get the next skill shot, he can find that slow. Pee-wee might not get out of the cage, he can't. That's gotta be enough damage for follow-up, and First Blood's gonna come through. So as his roam sets it up, and Smithy knocks it down.
Nice roam there from Immortals. 3-man play on mid lane. Power of Evil almost able to navigate his way out of that gank. Flashing over the pillar, proccing the phase rush, but that was such a well-placed Infernal Chain. Normally you want to just sidestep out of it, but he really didn't have the ability to do that without walking back into the Immortals players and had to kind of run so far forward to actually get into that barren pit in order to break it, and he just couldn't quite make it.
Well, big pickups there, and you can see Immortals now going to feel comfortable with a small gold lead to start things out. Xmithie able to get on the board with a flash burn top side, but never found the revisit, so Solo's about to have his flash back up, but it did help top lane equalize the farm. Now Solo face breakers in, finds a decent punch, gets some decent damage. Temporarily, they will level down behind Soaz.
Yeah, even if the farm has equalized, you're going to be pretty happy about that, I feel like, as Aatrox in the early stages, as Ignar will be spotted out, because it's so hard to actually brawl up against Set. You know, in this 1v1, Aatrox needs levels, needs the cooldown reduction on his abilities to be able to kind of effectively trade from range, because you don't want to be just forced into this melee versus melee battle where you're just autoing each other, trading back and forth, where Set will almost always win out.
Ignar gonna go. Q. Nope. Okay. I waited a little bit longer than he needed to. Could have stopped the recall in, about a few seconds of just annoyance. Not the worst thing in the world. Doesn't matter all that much, but a very minor thing lost out there as Ignar is, trying to find the roam. And I want to point out, by the way, right, he did rush Merc Treads. We talked about the Morgana matchup a bit during Champ Select, where you obviously like going mobies. Yes, mobility boots were nerfed this patch or last, and that does mean you're a little bit less likely to buy them, but kind of has to go Merc Treads when you look at the fact that if you get hit by a Morgana Q or a Cassie Volt, you are definitely always dead. And so picking a slightly safer option to maybe get away, but now the flash pull onto Soaz. He does have flash himself, back to the teleport. The rest of his squad not going to be put in turret range. Explosive Cask, though, doesn't quite put him there either, and it's just a trade teleport for flash, basically.
Feels pretty good with Power of Evil going to be able to push in mid lane, so if they can take away some of those minions, it becomes a better trade for them. But intelligently for Immortals, they're going to try to turn this into a rift. Does feel like they're bailing out, though, so really I would take FlyQuest's side in that trade overall.
Yeah, it's flash for the TP burned over the top. Turret plate dropped in mid lane. PoE was not in range to get the gold, so that is still 1,000 damage to the turret. That is still a relevant objective gained. Mid-outer falling is really, really relevant, but it is 160 gold. That doesn't go over. It still means that FlyQuest are on a very slight gold deficit here, but they are farming against that first blood and doing so admirably. 200 gold difference when you have 600 gold picked up from PvP combat means good farming.
Now off of Immortals backing off, they will be the ones to actually start this up. Turtle is going to stay bot lane. Apollo is running up, so if FlyQuest can't finish this really quick, then Immortals would have a 5v4, but it looks like FlyQuest will be able to finish
They're
it.
going to find a knock. They're going to find 2 charms. Damage to Xmithie, who's going to be able to walk away cleanly enough and burn the ult and stays alive. Herald picked up there by Santorin, burns his own flash to get away. It's only one summoner and a couple of ults lost on the FlyQuest side. One summoner, a couple of ults down on the Immortal side as well.
Yeah, very well done. And Turtle is going to be able to get a plate for himself. There's going to be some farm loss there from Apollo, who was roaming up to join the squad. Unfortunately for him, he couldn't get there in time to actually be involved in the play. So Turtle, who just stayed bot to farm, will get a little bit more out of that. And again, FlyQuest make a beneficial play. We'll see how much they can get from this Rift Herald.
So, as I've got stats here at the screen in front of me, I do want to kind of spend some time looking at the comparisons between players. If you look at CS difference at 10 across top laners, Viper was dead last in the LCS with -6.9. You can kind of see here that it's not quite that mark here for Solo, so that part's doing pretty well. But if you look at a different stat, like, say, gold difference, Viper is actually a better laner than Soaz. If you look at overall gold, not just CS, so things like plates and assists, ironically, it's Soaz who was doing well on farm and actually got the roam, got the assist. So Soaz, I would say, generally outperforming what he's expected to have against Viper, but by fairly small margins if we're like trying to grade Solo so far.
It's tough also because of how much I think the lane state in the early levels was affected by that gank, but we have Ignar here. Oof. Like, he may be in trouble, has to blow the flash. Because Solo kind of had the wave semi-frozen on him, he did lose quite a bit of that. And you can place some blame on the laner for saying, okay, well, maybe you should have managed the wave differently so that it wasn't able to be frozen on you. But it does get pretty in the weeds when we're, in or like a 1-game sample size.
Of course.
And thus far, I would say, as far as just the eye check, Solo has performed fairly well. He's been on point with the face breakers, setting his team up with that at times, and at very least getting some summoners.
Yeah, he's been setting his team up quite well. Of course, they set him up in Champion Select, and as we look at the mid-game state, it is a Drake in for Immortals. That's going to be solid, but it's FlyQuest who are still up in gold. They've still got a minute and change to summon that Herald and get 300 to 400 more off the top of that. So expecting a pretty large gold lead for FlyQuest, expecting to get first turret here as well, as mid and bot are both down a plate. And neither team has lane swapped their duos to top side to crash a turret just yet, but we are running out of time before the plates fall, so we should see that summon come pretty soon for Santorin.
I'm surprised to see him just straight up recalling here. Unless he just charges to a lane right now and drops it, it's going to be too late to try to get turret plates. So have to track. He's just going to run it down to mid lane and try to go for that there. But I always do think it's so important to get that guaranteed gold from the plates.
Ignar out to safety. Aka does not get the stun as Ignar is able to turn his back to it and get away from that one. We've now got Santorin walking to mid lane with about 30 seconds left on the Herald summon, as we have 20 seconds left on plates. Wild Turtle about to find his second solo plate kill down here. This time around, Apollo will actually be around. But the Herald is summoned in the mid lane, and you're going to hope for the FlyQuest side. Nicely done by Turtle. Gets the gold there. Here comes the charge, and PoE and Santorin both close enough to at least earn the 320 total gold for that one dropping. Sadly, plate number 4 not going to be ranged to kill. There was enough defense by Immortals, but that is still 480 gold farmed off the mid lane turret, 320 farmed off the bot lane turret, and Immortals themselves, I believe, got none.
I think they did miss gold on the first plate from the mid lane turret.
The first mid, you're right.
As I recall. But still, they did very well with that, and just in the next time, able to get the Herald down and cash in on it. So going to be feeling pretty good about it. Since it has been buffed, the value of the turret plates, even just getting the 2 is a kill, essentially, in value. So it is very important to be able to grab that whenever you can. And it's going to put Power of Evil in an even better spot here now. Grabbing the Lost Chapter, we'll be working towards a Ludens next. There are a lot of different options on how to build Victor, and I always find it pretty interesting to see how players want to prioritize it. Some will go straight towards a fully upgraded Hex score into things like a Lichbane. Some go for a double Spell Pen early. This is more of a wave clear heavy build, grabbing the Ludens and kind of prioritizing the CDR and the mana.
Yeah, and you know, even a little bits of poke once in a while as well if that can come through. But that item is of course done. Has a gigantic mana pool as well, and we can see now as rolls have been sent around, both outer turrets on the other sides of the map are being assaulted. Hakuo and Apollo going to try to rush down bottom turret. Looks like they'll actually get first turret gold themselves. That's roughly a plate worth of money. So the uncontested bot lane actually means Immortals get that first brush with their gold income. It means that they basically tied up that score line with the Drake spawning in 2 minutes. On the other side of the map, Wild Turtle still solo pushing. He's been getting a lot of time by himself to just farm. He has the highest CS in the game because of this, and he's going to get more damage on the top turret.
Has felt like he's been solo in those side lanes for so long, but surprisingly, he is just the same level as Apollo. He has around the same farm, is up about 500 gold, and that is because all those plates have been going just to him, where Apollo generally is sharing it with teammates, as well as that turret gold down on the bottom side. But Santorin potentially looking here. Power of Evil will just knock down the turret.
Yeah, and that was early game laning prowess, where you can see PoE has the small farm lead, the small XP lead. That was the Herald doing work there as well, and it means that that's 2 turrets to 1 right now. Santorin not going to find a good cask play, as ults for the move speed and runs back. You can see, yeah, top lane's still pretty close together. Double CDR items done for Soaz right now. Solo building towards that Trinity Force, he's halfway there. And we have a bit of a slower holding pattern. We're 1 minute away from the Ocean Drake spawning, but before then the Herald's already up, and FlyQuest would love to crack a 3rd turret with it.
I've got to say, I always like when players are willing to take those incremental gains, as we actually are going to have a fight here on SOAS.
Yeah, has to burn his flash to get away from that one, and now it's Smithy. Has to run around the wall, but maybe they find the opening there. Santorin gets over, the flash is burned, but the cask is almost a guarantee, as is the body slamming. Smithy's flash should not get him any way out of this one. As soon as they're willing to burn the spells, they should kill him. There's the knockup. They saved the cask, just simply could not live. And now, yes, mid lane is under some fire, but Solo dodges the first dark binding and clears everything away.
It's just nice. You go up top lane, you threaten Soaz, he pops the ult early, so don't go for a low percentage play. Just hold your ultimate for a higher percentage play. And then again, in that follow-up, they're able to force SOAS back. They're able to chase down Xmithy, and still holding onto the ult as Apollo may just get soloed out here by PoE.
Has to burn the barrier. Yeah, wouldn't have died even with it unless he used it for the move speed. I am not sure if he's running Nimbus Cloak here in the sorcery tree. That might have been burned just for the move speed to get away from the stun. I'm not certain. I know it's a very good rune. Definitely worth playing. And either way, though, does manage to walk out.
Well done by him. And good job by PoE to be able to force that out. The phase rush is very nice because it allows you, in combination with the Q bonus move speed, once you have that upgrade, to really effectively kind of fight back and forth. We talked about the lack of hard engage on the side of Immortals, and one of the biggest ways for them to set up a fight is just trundle pillar someone, then try to get onto them. When you have phase rush, you can remove that slow essentially and kite back very effectively, plus having the ability to then stay closer and attack your opponents as they back up, keeping your ultimate closer and on top of them for more damage.
Yeah, and if there's a player who's good at kiting a team fight out and maximizing DPS, Power of Evil is one of the very best at it. Definitely an outstanding player, and we'll be watching for him a whole bunch in team fights. Again, though, Wild Turtle has a ton of cash as well, right? Lots of turret gold soloed to him, lots of farms to the highest in the game. Might be the first to break 200. We'll see as waves go down. Doesn't have any minions to kill just yet. I'm actually very curious, just for funsies, who gets it. It's going to be PoE, cracking 200 minions under 19 minutes into the game. Same, though, for Aka at 201.
Yeah, all the players really farming well here. Both bot laners just around 200. Both mid laners at 200 as Turtle, no turret behind him, but will be able to barely squeeze by that pillar. That would have been probably Flash if he actually got locked in there, because you can't just walk through Aka and Xmithy, and your ultimate does not allow you to go over terrain such as that pillar.
Yep, that was going to be really big. Just maybe 50 units off from that being a forced flash. Unlucky there, but end of the day, it's FlyQuest feeling comfortable. They've still got those 2 unanswered turrets. We know bot lane is getting low, and right now, at this very moment, Nona's answering the bot lane push. Hakuo going to be chunked down as well. Ignar going to be first to get back into the bot lane. We'll see if Graga shows as well. Aka is showing up, but not in time to defend the turret. So 3 straight turret kills for FlyQuest. 1 was a trade, don't get me wrong, but mid and bot out are taken without really any contest, other than the fact that Immortals have at least claimed 2 Drakes.
I've got to say, I really like how Power of Evil is utilizing his ultimate. The last time the ult was up, he got barrier out of Apollo. Comes back up, he forces heal out of Hakuo. And this is something where, if you're going to go for a CDR heavy build, you need to be using your cooldowns consistently to really make the most of it. Otherwise, you should just be going for a flat pen or a death cap or something like that. So, he's making the most of his build and really kind of forcing resources out of his opponents every time his ultimate is up.
And we're speaking of things being up, Baron is alive now on the map as the power spike's coming through. Triforce done for solo. SOAS now the object of affection as the FlyQuest duo want to go for him. Yet again, ulti burn for the move speed. That's the second in a row I've seen of that one. Does make Aatrox, of course, a safe split pusher, gets away from most ganks. Again, Ignar not having Mobies, but Merc Treads means he's, of course, not as easily able to find those engages and outrun his opponents to get into range. Fair enough, cooldowns burned, whatever. But Wild Turtle, equal levels to SOAS, is not going to feel too terribly threatened by the one-on-one. I say that, though, as he walks into melee range of him, gets out from the knockback, and with reinforcements nearby, there's no follow-up on the fight.
SOAS wouldn't be able to win that extended fight very likely without the ult, but Power of Evil not quite able to proc phase rush to run away there, but now SOAS potentially caught out.
Charm, lots of CC. That time around, they get the kill picked off. Doesn't have the flash, couldn't burn it to get away. The rest of the squad was there. SOAS bit off more than he could chew.
This is just the power of engage. FlyQuest, I think, are in such a good spot with their composition. They're up in gold, and they're the ones who get to dictate when you fight. Unless you actually just face check Immortals as Xmithy, no flash, gonna go down there. That's maybe multiple turrets. 2 people are dead now. At the very least, they're gonna get 1. They could try to threaten Baron. Pinks are actually going down towards Baron, so they could go over there.
No jungler. They know he is dead. They should expect his flash to be back up if they had it timed, but there's still 15 seconds of the respawn plus the 15 to walk over there. If they burn this, it will not be a smite fight. It will be a very simple 5 versus 3 or 4. So as not burning the TP. Right now, Immortals don't have complete knowledge of if the Baron's even being hit. They're slowly walking forward, and by the time they do, it's going to be too late. They should not lose the smite. It should be picked up, and it is. Santorin claims it cleanly. There's a 5-on-4, but the health bars are low. Soaz finds one knockup, but he's pulled back in by Soaz and doesn't have an answer. The team wasn't ready, and another kill goes over. FlyQuest so far ahead now.
Power of Evil did such a good job in that fight, zoning out all of the other members of Immortals. Soaz comes in for this big TP flank, but no one could actually get past PoE. He's dropping his W for zone control. He gets an ult on multiple members, getting them very, very low with lasers across, and never put himself in a position where they could even get on top of him and take him out because they just don't have the ability to hard engage. So Immortals finding Turtle, thinking, okay, we can actually make a play here. But Ignar is in the area, the counter engage very good. He got past the miasma, allowing him to then W over and charm up Eka after already having locked down Soaz. That is the couple kills that then led to Xmithie dying, that then led to the Baron, and FlyQuest in full control. They're the ones with the engage. They're the ones with the gold lead. And they are the ones who have everything they need, I think, to win this game.
I absolutely agree. FlyQuest are looking great. Solo's return to the LCS, his first game of the decade. I will never get tired of using that joke for the rest of the year. Is 2-0-0 on a victory, helping to lead FlyQuest up towards top 3 in the standings. They're going to retain that spot for now. They'll actually, if they close one out, be tied with TSM for second. They're already 1-1 head-to-head, so if they keep winning, and we're expecting both teams to, it is a tiebreak for second. I'm still going to mention that because it's really, really hype for FlyQuest to have turned their season around so well. They turned their kind of org around to being such a winning team now this time around, and we'll see if they can keep that one going forward. Looking at a 9-6 record going into the last 3 games, and we'll see what else they want to do. Still more than a minute left in the Baron buff with plenty of items to back up their push.
FlyQuest can just split push us out. I'm just failing to see how Immortals really even finds a fight, right? There's not really any worry, and you can play 3 lanes because where's the big hard engage? A flash binding that any pro should be able to react to, maybe a pillar that you can kind of just walk away from. Immortals just doesn't have any way to play the game when they're behind, and they're very far behind.
They really are. They find a bind. Apollo could get a lot of autos off on PoE, but he's just turned away instantly by the ult coming down, chunks him a bit. He gets a bit of wave clear, but he's still dropped well below half HP, and that is a fight that Immortals found a bind and autos on, and PoE won the fight. They get the turret. They're going to get bot lane here as well. Both inhibs should easily die. At this point, to give the turrets, you might as well give the inhibitors. Right now, there's a chance at a 5v4. Aka's going to be here before Solo, but as we've kept mentioning, there isn't hard engage. There is a bind, and that's it. There is a pillar that
Flash Cassio?
They don't catch PoE. He does have flash. He burns it now. Aka wants in, and Santorin can't find that one either. Xmithie running for dear life. Here comes the ulti. Power slams him into the rest of the squad to pull back the punch. Look at the damage output there. Apollo's days are numbered. Aka, he's aching now as he's going to drop down. The double kill goes to Wild Turtle as they burn through the summoners, diving into the back line. 3 quick kills picked up, and FlyQuest, a fast one, under 26 minutes, will end the day tied for second. Immortals still do sit 1 game safe from playoff position, but they've still got to find wins elsewhere in the season, with many teams just nipping at their heels. FlyQuest take a convincing win. Solo's debut on FlyQuest is a 7-1 victory in 26 minutes over Immortals.
What a crushing game from FlyQuest. Sub 26 minutes. It's not even as though FlyQuest was playing an early game comp. They have the Zyra Khan. They have great late game with the Victor too. They just ran over Immortals.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, it never looked like Immortals had a chance in that game. The best thing going for them really was that like level 2 pseudo freeze in top lane. Besides that, it didn't feel like they ever had anything going on. And I just fail to see how that comp was even really supposed to win if you didn't just dominate lanes. If you dominate lanes, you can go to an objective and your opponents have to come to you and then you fight them. But if you have no engage, you're always fighting on your opponent's terms.
Yeah, I mean, they technically had counterpick on both solos. Their 2-on-2 of MS Morgana should be very good. Like, theoretically, the situation was available, but it just didn't come through, right? Wasn't going to happen for them. So it is a loss for Immortals. They are at 7-8 with 3 to play. Statistically, they are expected to still make playoffs, but it would be towards the bottom. We'll see, though. With a 2-game gap, they can make it up with 3 to play. They can make the top 4 happen. The battle with EG is going to be a big deal for that one, so we'll see if that one comes through. Either way, though, again, props to FlyQuest. They are very close to securing and guaranteeing playoffs, and either way, that's going to do it for us here. Thank you all so much for bearing with these changes as we attempt to bring you some more league action. We can improve for tomorrow. Let us know how else we can improve for tomorrow as well, and we'll see you tomorrow for more LCS. Good night.